So the first time I met the Reverend Dan Jones, it was not good circumstances in my life. In fact, I was involved with a shooting, and my house where my grandmother lived was shot up, riddled with bullets. And a bullet came just inches away from my grandmother's back. I was caught up in drug dealing and rival activity. And Pastor Dan showed up in his Indiana Jones hat and his trench coat and took me aside and had a conversation with me and offered to pray for me in that moment. It was a very stressful and hard moment. And I wish that I could say that at that moment I turned my life around and, went to church, but it took some more misery before I got to that place. But when I encountered Jesus on the floor of a jail cell and he rescued me from that life of pain and agony, I went back to that little church and I found Pastor Dan. And Pastor Dan taught me how to go about shepherd malpractice. Dan was a pastor of an inherited congregation, but he spent more time out in the community with people that didn't go to the church than he did inside the church. And I remember when I shared my testimony about, encountering Christ, Pastor Dan told me, well, I'm glad that Jesus has saved your soul, but AA will save your ass. And so I want you to meet me at the noon meeting tomorrow. And I did that. And Pastor Dan mentored me, discipled me. He taught me the ways of shepherd malpractice. And I watched this father in the faith pastor the people in the Alcoholics Anonymous community. I watched those people call upon him when they had a crisis or wanted to get married or needed some counseling. And I watched him leave the 99 to go after lost ones and to really make that the focus and the centerpiece of his ministry. And while Dan Jones, by all of our metrics of success today, where we're looking for all the numbers to be up and to the right, that wasn't the kind of ministry that he was a part of. But he deeply impacted the lives of people that were very far outside the church. And one of those people was me. And so I've taken up in my own way the shepherd malpractice that I learned from my mentor. And that involves intentionally helping faith communities and churches organize search parties as the 99 to go out as a church of joyous shepherds and to seek after those sheep that may have wandered from the fold or have gone astray. And shepherd malpractice involves pastoring the people that maybe don't go to your church, but they live in your city or your rural place. Shepherd malpractice involves being there and being part of your community, being called upon when there's a need or a crisis. And it involves equipping the whole people of God to join you in that work, to go forth and to plant churches in the wild.